Thanks for joining us. I'm Nancy Furness, and this is We've Got Issues. Today we're filming at Coquitlam City Centre Library. We'd like to thank the library for giving us this space to do the interviews. And just before we get started, I want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of Coquitlam First Nation. So we thank the Coquitlam people who continue to live on these lands and to care for the lands and the waters and all that lies above and below. So today I'm joined by Etienne Siew, who is an alternative folk roots artist, and his music has a really powerful way of connecting the listener to the beautiful nature that we're surrounded by right here in the Tri-Cities and beyond in British Columbia. So thank you so much for joining us today, Etienne.
Thank you for having me.
Can you start us off just at the beginning? Like, how did you, come to know that you had these talents of not only being a musician, but also as a storyteller?
Well, I feel like music has been a vessel for me to storytell. When I was a little child in elementary school, I used to write stories for my family, and I would write stories in school. And then as I picked up guitar in like middle school, a bit of high school, and became more interested in songwriting in my 20s, that's sort of how I tied it all together.
So it all just was an evolution that was meant to be.
Yeah.
You have had some pretty exciting news lately. You recently released an album called Chasing Dreams. And if it's okay if I just read a small quote here.
Absolutely.
So you say the song Chasing Dreams was written as a reminder for listeners that life is too short not to go after the things you love and to work towards your passions that truly light you up inside. And also, All Indie Magazine said Chasing Dreams could be one of the best folk roots album of the year, which is pretty high praise here. As an independent musician, can you sort of tell us a little bit about what went into making that album?
Oh, wow. Well, from like the very start, I think the ideas and a lot of it was born during the pandemic when I initially released my EP and Better Man, and I was planning to tour across BC, and then the world shut down, and I was kind of, at that time, I quit my full-time job, and I thought about, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a full-time artist, and I'm going to tour, and then I couldn't. And so, yeah, I was just sat there thinking, how am I going to make the most out of this scenario? I can't perform live, which is what I'm used to doing. What can I still do? Like, what pieces do I still have? What do I need to work on, and how can I grow? And so I drove out to a lot of lakes and forests and different places in nature, which for my mental health and to collect my thoughts. And so that's where a lot of the album was written in nature, while I was just sitting there with my flask of tea and my story, my notebook, my songwriting book, and my guitar, and I started putting it together.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that you and I both share sort of a deep respect and appreciation of nature, and we are surrounded by some beautiful areas, both locally in the Tri-Cities as well as, in BC in general. What were some of your favorite locations to sit and think and write? Like, where's an inspiring type of setting for you?
Oh, wow. Anywhere near water, just as a general sort of thing. I've always felt, even when I was doing my degree or something, and I felt really stressed out when I was studying, I would always go down to the ocean or the river or something and just sit there, and I'd feel really at peace. But I would say Pitt Lake in particular, Pitt River, I sat at a lot. There's some really spectacular sunrises and sunsets there that you can see, and I grew up going to my friend's cabin on Pitt Lake as well. So I would say Pitt Lake was one of my favorite places to go and write.
Pitt Lake is also one of my very favorite
Oh,
places.
yeah, okay.
Specifically Etienne Siew.
Oh, yeah.
So if you kayak down Etienne Siew, it's like you're kayaking right into the mountains, and it's spectacular scenery. So I totally understand why that would be, very inspiring. I'm inspired, but I have not been able to put it to music or words like
Sure.
you. So I have a favorite nature-based song that you write, but
Okay.
I'm interested in your story. Like, do you have one of your songs that's a favorite? And if so, can you maybe share a little bit of the story behind the song to us?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them have, like most of my songs have some element of nature in them. I would say on the album, two that are really special are Tangerine Sky and Cottonwood Seed are the two songs that I really love. And Tangerine Sky, when I was, that was one that I wrote right on the river, essentially, and I wanted to, all the beautiful things that I see in nature when I'm canoeing. I also worked as a canoe guide for a while, and I've seen some really spectacular sights while I was doing that. And so I wanted to write a song that illustrated to people the beauty of BC, and when people care about something, they'll think about it a little more. So they might think about the environment, or even just like recycling or picking some garbage up or what have you. So yeah, I think the deeper appreciation that we can find for nature, the more people will care about it. So that was the idea with Tangerine Sky. And Cottonwood Seed, I would say, it's super fun and reflective, but I tried to keep it very lighthearted the way that I wrote it. And it's about a little cottonwood seed that's floating around and wants to be like everything else in the forest, but is just perfect as a tree. And I think that's a nice message for people who get bogged down, just maybe with the stresses of life and forget their way. And that I think we each have gifts that we have to offer.
No, Cottonwood Seed is my favorite as well.
Right, as a tree lover, a fellow tree lover.
Yeah, I was super excited that it's on your new album. So that's awesome. And it's a short song, but it's just, there's something so alive and just so joyful about it.
Yeah.
And not everybody appreciates cottonwood trees, so I was so happy to hear the song.
Really? Oh, great. Yeah, they probably just think of the allergens and and that kind of thing, but they are very special.
They're valuable trees in the ecosystem. But there's another song that you have that I think, the more I listen to it, the more I just really, really appreciate it. And it's a very more, I think, reflective song. It's called Elizabeth's Song. And in this, you're not using so much nature as an inspiration, but more your own heritage.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story behind Elizabeth's Song?
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from a mixed race family. My father's side is from Trinidad in the Caribbean, but Elizabeth's Song focuses on my mom's side. My grandmother is British and my grandfather is Guyanese, and he was working towards being a cricket player in Guyana, but he ended up joining the Merchant Navy and sailing around the world, and he landed in England, and that's where he met my grandmother. And the story behind Elizabeth's Song is the fortitude that they had as they were trying to be together, because at that point in time, they were the only mixed race couple in their entire town. And so they had a lot of pushback, and they were not treated very well. And so they faced a lot of struggles, things that I wouldn't even dream of facing today. And so Elizabeth's Song is about the story of their love that held them together as they push forward and they refuse to give up on love. And they just kind of made it work at all costs. And it's just a testament to how powerful it can be.
It's a really powerful storytelling, and the music is beautiful as well.
Thank you.
And I was very fortunate to be able to hear it performed live recently.
Sure.
And everybody was just like And then at the end, you introduced Elizabeth, who was actually in the audience, and you could hear visible gasps from people like, oh, you know, there she is.
Great.
So it really was, it was wonderful to, you know, be in that sort of environment and to be able to be part of that.
Absolutely, and I think that her story is such a powerful one. Like she cleaned banks in England, and you know, they did what they could to make ends meet. And now to write a song about her story and have it playing on the radio or what have you, and you know, have a record now with that song on it. It's just, it feels amazing that I'm able to give that to my grandmother.
Oh, it's a huge gift.
Yeah, and just hearing from other audience members and people who appreciate it and how it has resonated with them and their own stories, whether their families have gone through difficulties or what have you.
Who inspires you as a musician? Like, who do you listen to? Is there anything that might surprise us, or?
I'm not sure if a surprise would be the word, but I find myself digging into the past and listening more to like Jim Croce,
Really?
Bread,
Okay.
James Taylor. These artists, for me, feel like they didn't have anything to fall back on but their skill with their instrument and their storytelling and their voice, and I really appreciate that. And so that's something that I try to bring forward in my music as I continue to work to be a better musician, a better storyteller, a better artist. I really want to bring that back because I understand pop music. I love listening to pop music. It definitely has a place, but yeah, sometimes I just think that instrumentation and the dedication to the instrument and that sort of thing is really important to me.
And I think sometimes we think or we assume that musicians are always writing or playing, and that's all they do, right? That's their whole life because that's what's visible to us.
Sure.
What else do you do?
I'm definitely not someone that just sits down and does that. I also think I know some musicians are kind of wired that way, but I need to immerse myself in different experiences and life in order to get the inspiration to write the music. So whenever I can, I love spending my time out in nature, either canoeing or fly fishing, hiking. Those are probably some of my favorite activities. Yeah.
And I think it goes well with what you do because that kind of adds fuel to
Yes.
what you're doing here, right? So what can you share with us what being a musician has taught you a little bit, what it's taught you about life, some of the lessons, and also what you hope to accomplish?
Wow. I would say it's taught me to be a lot more reflective about my own emotions and feelings and processing them. And when I think about some of the songs on this album and how I took some creative risks to speak on topics like my grandmother's story, how empowering that has been for other people as well. It's taught me that the power of vulnerability and how that can speak to other people. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I've taken away. Also, the belief in yourself, even through challenges, because you're going to face them. How to think about your goals and what you would like to accomplish. And for me, it's writing meaningful work and having that connect with people on a global scale. And so I feel like I'm getting there a little more every year and touching people.
And I think listening to your music kind of inspires people to look at their own lives and their own situations, as well as looking out at nature and noticing things that they maybe haven't noticed before. Can you tell us maybe a little bit about some of the highlights? What have been sort of the real up points? I know there's probably been ups and downs.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
tell us some of the highlights.
Well, some of the highlights I would say was finding out about the Fraser Valley Music Awards and starting to enter that. And I think all musicians, they doubt themselves at times, but you know, submitting some of my music, and then a few years ago I won the Country Roots Artist of the Year, and I'm actually a nominee for the Country Artist of the Year.
Wow,
This year. Thank
congratulations
you.
on both of those.
Thank you. I'm waiting to hear the results actually today, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, today?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I would say that, and then also traveling some more and getting to perform in the States a little bit. I went and I performed in Germany last year, and that was just amazing. Wow. To go and perform, and I played one of my songs, Wild Man.
Yes.
And it was really cool to sing about somewhere local to here and tell that story to the people that were in the bar that I was performing, and then other musicians came up and just on the fly, it just made me think about music being this universal language and how it just connects people.
And I think Wild Man is like, it's energetic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But, and also the fact that you talk about local spaces, like you talk about Courtney, you have different names, things that are familiar to us here, and for people in Germany, they get to learn about places that they probably would never have heard about before, right?
Absolutely.
So can you do you have any advice to share to other people that are maybe in the process of chasing their own musical dream? Like, I know it's not easy and it takes a lot of discipline and work, but is there any words of advice that you can offer based on your own experiences?
Absolutely. I would say authentically go after what you want. I wouldn't say don't like try to be somebody else. If you're creating, I think there's going to be learning curves that you'll go through, but eventually you're gonna develop a unique sound that is yours. And some advice that I got years ago, I went to a music convention, and this one artist told me, no one can be a better musician, no one can be a better Etienne Siew than Etienne Siew. And
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, that has really stuck with me because it can be competitive, you know, if you're trying to get on radio or into film or whatever you're doing. But I think that if you're authentic to what you're creating, that's going to resonate with people, and you're going to find the people that believe in what you're doing and that connect with your music. And the more you do that, I think it will just continue to grow.
So just further down that road a little bit, what's your favorite venue? Like, where do you really like to perform the best?
I think it goes back to, I have kind of two answers. It was a dream of mine to perform at the Evergreen Theatre and to do my own showcase there. So I ticked that off the box this year, which was amazing. But I really love festivals that are near the ocean.
It's that water connection.
It is, yeah.
Again,
I'm a
right?
Pisces, so I don't know if it has something to do with that.
You come by it honestly then.
Yeah.
And living on the West Coast,
Yes.
you're surrounded by water, right?
I think I played for the Harmony Arts Festival a few years on the run now, and yeah, that one's been really wonderful to be on stage and hear the waves crashing beside you, or performed at a festival in Powell River. That was pretty fun. So yeah.
That's very cool. Can I ask why you went to vinyl?
To vinyl because the way that people listen to music now, I do it too. I have my Spotify playlist or what have you, and you just select songs that you want to listen to. But with a vinyl, I feel like there is a whole procedure to it where you've got to listen to it in a certain order. And yeah, there's like, it feels almost like ceremonial to me, where you take the time to take the needle off and flip it over. And on the insert of the vinyl, there's the lyrics and some more background information about the creation of this project. So I created the vinyl for people that want to
other level.
Yeah, for the audience member that wants to know more about my art, and yeah, I think that
So
was a big reason.
did you put them on there in a certain order? Like that was thought about, that was a process that you said this is the way it should be listened to?
Yes, that.
No.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there could be a few like minor changes, but for the most part, that is it's sort of the progression of what I went through as I was during the pandemic and during my during my journey of quitting my job, booking my first tour myself, going on tour, and understanding what that felt like to be alone, and performing my own songs for people. This immense amount of joy, but also the solitude that comes with it. And sometimes it's like, it's quite tiring if you're touring and you're on the road. And then there's just other things that I processed and I learned, and messages that I wanted to tell.
It's interesting. I never thought about that, but so it's almost like a story within a story here.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this is the vinyl here, Chasing Dreams.
It's a beautiful photograph as well, right? I think it captures the spirit of your music.
Yeah, I wanted something running. The photographer Jessica Bates, she's wonderful. I love the sort of the grainy photos that she takes. They kind of look vintage. There's a nice little shot of me pondering
You're
songs
pondering your
on
next song.
on the back. So I'm very proud of it. It's been
even the colors are beautiful, right?
Yeah, very earthy and yeah.
So for people that don't have the equipment to listen to vinyl, how else can they find your music? Where would they go to maybe download it online and purchase it that way?
Yeah, the whole album is it's on all streaming platforms. I know everybody, including myself, we stream music, which is free. But if people wanted to monetarily support the album, they could go on to Bandcamp, which is on if they go to my website, www.etiennesiew.com, there's a link there that says download the album, and then they could download the songs there, or iTunes. I get some money from that, so.
But I think that's very.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they go to your website, they'll be able to find Bandcamp and then link that way, or go to Bandcamp and look for you.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Bandcamp or iTunes. Artists definitely get more money that way versus like thousands of streams equate to like maybe a few cents.
Right.
Yeah, on streaming platforms, but that's just the game, and
it's changed.
Yeah,
the rules
it has.
have changed a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But Etienne, I just want to say thank you so much for coming out and talking to us today and sharing some of the stories behind your music. It's been wonderful to touch base and learn more, and I hope that we can talk again soon in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you for listening. This is We've Got Issues, and we've been speaking to Etienne Siew, who is a local Tri-Cities musician and artist.
At the time, it was very hard for a couple of mixed race to be together. But despite all the obstacles, they managed to stay together and persevere. And it's a testament to the strength of love, I think. So this is Elizabeth's song. There's a young woman who's riding her bike down the street, down cobblestone footpaths with the world and the wind at her feet. But how would she know that the love of her life she would meet would sail from Guyana across the Atlantic Sea?
There's a young man who leaves behind all that he knows, a life at the wicket to go where the ocean wind blows. But how would he know that joining the merchant navy would lead him to the shores of England and his love to be? Yes, this is Elizabeth's song. She rides her bike to love, it won't be long. And Henry is a bird set free. He soars to love deeper than the sea. So they fell in love in a factory. He bent steel and she cleaned shops to meet their needs. But times were tough on them, to say the least. Hatred bit them hard with sharpened teeth. Yes, this is Elizabeth's song. She rides her bike to love, it won't be long. And Henry is a bird set free. He soars to love deeper than the sea. What would she do when law forbid life with a colored man? They'd build a home of love in a caravan. There they had a beautiful daughter and son. Love had conquered hate, the battle was won. Yes, this is Elizabeth's song. She rides her bike to love, it won't be long. And Henry is a bird set free. He soars to love deeper than the sea. He'll find his way home to you. His secret love, his Doris Day, his one and only, with eyes of blue. Thank you so much.